Hey everyone, how you doing again? Thought I'd get busy and get some more work done to this ship. I did some more yesterday too. Been kind of looking through the comments on a couple things, and one thing that kind of came into what I was thinking about a lot is the lighting. Um, for instance, right now what I'm doing typically with a lot of the lights is I'm using this kind of purplish color, usually at an intensity of 2 and usually in spotlight mode. And I'll play with the settings on range and the angle. I can up that or down that up. Like for instance in the bridge here. Now the bridge, it doesn't need to be as bright as the rest of the ship. And once I get more LCDs and stuff in here, I think it'll look all right. But for instance, even if I wanted to make the bridge brighter, my options really are I could change the light color, and I don't normally use this white so much, um, so I could do that. That is one option. It looks, I don't know, brighter, but it really kills the mood that I was trying to get for in parts of the ship too, because that just doesn't look to me like it would be a good bridge color. So then I could go with this gray, which is just kind of a toned down version of the same thing. It looks a little bit better, blends a little nicer. But I usually go for this cool color, like basically like a cooler tone. So if I go straight blue, it's too blue. If I go to any of these other shades, I don't think it looks good. I mean, I don't know. Eh. Um, so I'm kind of stuck there. I mean, I've got this, and I so wish you could select your own custom colors. Then I could really do a lot more with the lighting than what I can right now. I do believe. At least it'll be a learning experience because then I could play with all these different color tones and see what looks the best. But what I wanted to show you to start with is some of the areas that are not decorated, but got more done over here going down this side of the ship. Um, I've got some rooms I got to do, like this room over here, completely unfinished. This hallway kind of goes back down to the elevator. Then there's another hallway over here, and I don't have lighting or a lot of this finished. Did do up another little room here, and this is kind of dark too. I got to fix the ceiling again. I've been doing lots of modifications in the area. Now here I might be more prone to go for a whiter light. Now there's a couple other factors at play too. One is I'm trying not to use too many lights in a given area. Now I could make things brighter by adding more lights all over the place and it might look better, but I'm just trying to stay minimal on the light usage for now. Maybe later on I'll try to tweak that out. Um, Anyway, so you got this unusual hallway that's kind of angled at one side. This only goes down one side of the ship, so it's not symmetrical. When it goes down, it overlooks another new section over here, which I got to do up this hallway yet. But then you have this room here, which has kind of some kind of barrier on it. So this could be for like the current coronavirus people, where they can, if they're all infected, they could probably all be in the same area. But this is kind of a light quarantine area, not the heavy area which I intend on building out here in this video, or at least get it started. So now I'm up to the top floor here in the back. There's actually one more floor above this in the front area. And this connects, there's two connection points I've got to concern myself with. One is the rear landing pad. It's a pretty big landing pad. This, I'm thinking, would be the area which I'd want infectious patients to come in on. And the problem I've got is my stairway goes straight down into this area here, which I don't really want it to be that way right now. I kind of want to get all the patients up to this bigger floor over here. So I think I'm going to start by making some modifications. Now this one area, at least for now, I can work on this in symmetry. The center portion may not be symmetrical, but the rest of it can be right now, so it'll save a little bit of time at least. a lot of parts of the ship were done completely with symmetry off, though. So that's one challenge. Now I cut away a big chunk in the ceiling of the ship too, basically to let me know the area in which I can replace all the blocks. All these were full blocks, so I cut around the outer rim of that, and I realized that I'll probably end up destroying this landing pad and have to retexture it before I'm done. So that is one point of entry on the ship. Now the ship also has another landing pad, and that connects in the center over here. Also thinking about how this is going to connect up. So this area, I believe I'm in another infectious disease zone in which the patients would get rolled out into this room area. And another comment too was a lot about like the ceilings, like they don't like to see, one ceiling height. And I agree, I don't either. But there's tricks. For instance, like here, here's going to be kind of tough because I shaped all the top blocks above parts of this room at least. Maybe the whole thing. I can cut away some of it. But like this part here, I got to pretty much keep at one block row high until it gets over to here, and then I can raise the ceiling up. Now in this area, why I cut away all the blocks around this landing pad is I'm fully intending on removing this entire thing here, which I might as well just kind of do for now. So I can use all kinds of different thin blocks and combinations of blocks to make a taller ceiling. Now one other aspect of this area too is I'm going to try to line up individual rooms up to these windows that are here already. So essentially we'll have walls in between here. Maybe not big thick ones like I'm showing there right now, but we'll have walls for sure. And that would allow me to build out individual rooms here that all have a centered window on them. It gets a little tricky in the corner over here, but I think I can make that work as well. Anyway, back to the first area. First area, I'm thinking what I want to do is put in some kind of ramp from this door terminal to get up to either side over here. So, let's chop away a little bit here. Now, as I'm doing this too, I think on the ramp, I actually would prefer this not to be a staircase, but something that you could roll a stretcher up. Now, I wish I could do things at a better angle than I currently can. Actually, that just gives me an idea. Maybe I can. Yeah, this would be blown away over here too. Okay, so if I use blocks here, or a standard staircase, I could only do like a 22.5 degree angle like this. Now one idea I've got, may or may not work out, but is the only thing that I could get a different angle on actually would be a standard ramp. Like say I grab some of these over here. Let's take a look at some of the sizes we have. I'm only looking to go one block up, but we can go actually up to 3 using one of these. So if I had this here, these place weird, say something like that, then if those stayed open like that all the time, which I think we can make them just stay locked in place like that, and I can actually produce an angle that the game doesn't have in blocks, and it would kind of make it look, yeah, I kind of like that idea. I think that could work out. Alright, so now we got to make the sides of the ramp here kind of pretty too. So what could actually be done over here to make this prettier? Now these angles aren't going to line up to anything though. That's one thing I got to keep in mind. I also can't put in any guardrails to match that ramp either, so that's another issue. But I'm wondering if I did something like this to make like a bit of a guardrail. that's going to kind of screw up this round thing that I got going on here, but it's alright. Maybe we'll match that, go across here, like that. Okay, so now we can come up the ramp, and then we get to, well, now we got a tight zone right here. Alright, so windows. Let's try to build out some kind of room here. Maybe this will even be a copy paste thing. But I got to use some really, really thin blocks here to make this work right. I actually kind of wanted to make these windows so they can, well, I don't know if that's so needed or not. If I could have internal walls like this, I could save some room. But then I can't get much in there. Yeah, this is what takes a long time. Actually, doing the blocks themselves doesn't take that huge amount of time anymore, but it's just all the planning that goes into this stuff can really be time consuming. I try to figure out, you know, the layout and how it all is going to work out. Yeah, I'll put these back for now. So let's say that's a full block there too. Cool. Let's say that all of this is a room, and we want to, these rooms don't have to be super big, but basically it would have a bed per room, I would say, in this case. I'm just trying to figure out now what I can do with all this. Is there a way to make this pretty and nice across the front facing? I wouldn't mind having it come out another block row too. This is one of the more difficult areas of the ship to actually do, probably. It's different than a lot of the other areas of the ship, so got to think about it a lot. Okay, so now we put a wall in front of this. I'll try to keep it tapered. Let's say we put, no, I can't do that. Or that. Alright, let's go with that. And then a thin block here. And this area here could be a door. Okay, so now that comes up into this room. It's not a very standard sized room though. Well, now we can do something with the ceiling to make this room look better. Now one problem I've got that I keep on running into is, you know, once I do up the ceilings and everything, I can't place a light because I just have no opportunities to get that kind of stuff in there. So I might have to deal with that. Now whatever I put here though, it has to have a full solid ceiling on it. So using that block, if I wanted like a curviness, I can't do, but I can use this one. We could line that up to the windows, something like that. We're going to have a little different results on the front here though. Alright, tell you what, let's put in the one with the seams. Well, a seam on one side. That there. And then we'll curve that back down on the front. Okay, so now we're taking the ceiling. Oh, I screwed up again. Yeah. One thing I got to remember too, because I'm now dealing with the exterior of the ship, that most of this I actually want in steel and not carbon substrate. So that is the next thing. so then we can put in a steel block up here. And you know what? Whatever I do, oh, this needs to be another curve. Like that there. Alright, so now we created kind of like more space in here. You got something to look at on the ceiling. So now how is that going to mesh up with this lobby hallway system that's coming in over there? I need a wall here, however I do it, but I would like to keep that kind of thin, if possible. Well, maybe I should just try to go with something like this across. Like 2 of those. And then let's grab this weird block here. Give it a little bit of a curve. Oh, that doesn't quite work, but this one will. Okay, so now we got a little bit of roundiness there. This part I could probably just keep as is. Something like that. I get it rotated the same way as the other part. And then in the corner here, how about a little curvy? That kind of extends out like that. Alright, now issues I've got is literally I've got a little bit of floor space, so I've got actually 9 blocks where I can place decorative things, a bed, and stuff like that, but I literally have got no place to really position a light. I can't put a light anywhere on the ceiling. But what I could try to do is take one of these lights that are, well, you know what? What if I took one of these dual lights like that and placed it right on the inside, and then there'd be a door on the outside. And then I would be able to light up this room, keep it out of the way, and still have 8 more block spaces where I can put equipment and gear. Alright, so for now, I get rid of the rest of these full blocks that are chilling out over here. It would be kind of neat if I could make a room design in which I could copy and paste it over. But I'm kind of worried about that because I think how this lines up to the one side over there, it's going to be different than what this room is. Now let's try to build another one of these rooms real quick here. Let's get back over to steel. And get in the 4 corners. Sometimes I just add a random block in between because I actually want the block to be there. And then we want these. We get that thing across the top. Add another one of these. And then just a flat. Okay, so same basic room design. Oh, one more of those. I guess these. Alright. Across the front, I don't like my front facing very much here. Oh, let's get rid of another row here too. Poor landing pad. Gonna have to redo that. Oh well. That's what I get for texturing the body up before I got the interior done. Alright. At least I got daylight now. Alright, so all looking good so far. Except I don't really like the facing. So what could I do with the facing on this to make this look better somehow? For now, let's just get rid of the extra pieces I put in here. And it'd be really kind of cool if, I don't know, get something in there to make it look better. Typically, I'm really scared of using all these curvy blocks like this because they honestly shoot up size class, but once I go past a particular limit, in which this ship already did, I just don't care that much anymore, so I think that's a big part of it. And I might as well see the added detail of using the fancier blocks. Alright, so this block here can now switch to a thin wedge like this, so that doesn't have that jaggy line at the end. These are uniform, but what has to happen now too is there needs to be a ceiling over this whole area that is tight with the top of the ship. So in this case I might just use some more of these, which are a perfect block for a lot of this, and you can do some neat little trimming effects. They're kind of bulky though. But I think it would work like that. Let's just run that all the way over to here. Okay, so then we've got our little rooms. Kind of need one more room. I guess I'm just going to manually build. I don't think copy and paste it would be that much quicker. It's just when I texture it, I want to make sure I texture them all at the same time. Oh, darn, I did it again. I used the wrong material for the ceiling here. I gotta really watch that. In fact, this whole row should have been steel. And you guys should be steel. Okay. I think I'm facing the right way there. Oops. Ah! Hit the wrong key. Sorry about that. Okay. Another one of those. Typically on ships, I don't like to do a whole lot of these small rooms like that. I kind of like to go with these, with like big rooms and stuff like that, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. You need, see, now I can't edit that block because that block is already changed. Just put that back in place there. Alright, so then we got a center section that's opened up yet too. I was thinking about trying to get another row of rooms on either side going down the center here. So let's start out planning that. Say there's going to be a wall right down the middle of this room. And then we need to have some rooms. We don't want to leave a hallway space of that size. So these rooms are going to have to be a little bit smaller in the middle and without windows. So these are the deluxe infected rooms, and these are the non-deluxe infected rooms. Yay! That's what everybody's been craving. No, I'm kidding. And it would be nice to keep the doors perfectly lined up to the other side if possible. So we have some internal walls. Like, did I do this right? Oh, this needs to go another block row that way. Okay. Now these rooms are a little peculiar. In fact, that should be like that, and this should be out to here. All right. I think this should come out another. Okay. Now, front facing for this. Let's put in some little corners first. Oh, that totally doesn't work, does it? Of course it doesn't. Why would it work? I'm gonna have to use the big ones here, I guess. Or, again, go for the same kind of curve. Maybe the thinner version, or should I keep it uniform to both sides? I'd rather have the thin, I think, on this case, just to keep it looking a little different. Okay, so hallway is wide enough, actually like 1.5 squares wide, about. The ceiling has this going on, which unfortunately the ceiling is going to have to close down so it can meet up with the wall height here. That'd be a way to pull this off and keep it open as possible. What if I did something like that? At least across the front parts of these rooms. I'll try it. Just doing everything I can to make the ceiling a lot more taller feeling, so it's not so cramped in here. Alright, so on the top of these rooms I've got a basically 6 blocks to build up something in here so it doesn't look too bad. I could go with more of those, which are the ultra thin corner blocks, and there's a lot you can do with these, really. Well, that's kind of boring too. It's very square. Or other options I could do. Something like that. I think that might work. Keep in mind, all these blocks that I'm throwing in here too are fairly expensive towards size class. But okay, so we got that. Now we could probably just build up a steel ceiling here. got these gaps in the middle of these rooms here. Pretty big gaps. In fact, they're so big that I don't know if I need them there. Those actually could be hallways. Kind of like a grid pattern in this area, I guess. I wish there was a centered block kind of thing, because I've got these full blocks in here so the walls are the same on both sides, but I'm losing room because of it. I could carve into one side or the other, but then the rooms would be off. So I think for now at least I'll just fill in this area again with steel. And I've got those chunks here. So what if we... symmetry line, yeah, makes it so hard to see. Okay, so we did like that. There's just two like that. Okay, that already filled it in. And we could pop in some, how about just some half blocks. There and there. And that's different there. Alright. So kind of what we got here is an infectious disease area with a bunch of separated and isolated rooms and an elevator that comes up over here. And ramps that allow patients to come up over this way to this area. Kind of all works, I think. I'll replace a couple more of these blocks here. Get in some bevels. That. And now, elevator needs to be kind of sealed off as well. And this block over here is kind of there. So let's get rid of that one and let's pop in one of these. Another one of my more favorite blocks this day and time. Except in this case, I actually want the one that only has a ridge on one side. So that lines up to there. That gives me a thin little area here, and then I can place a door here and kind of conceal it properly. Okay, so when you first walk up here, I've been trying to do a lot of double hallways, or double width hallways in this ship, which is different than I normally would do. I usually have them single, but basically it has some room here, and kind of, if you look at hospitals, and typically they do have wider hallways as well than what you'd find in other places, because I mean they're moving patients and multiple people up and down the hallways. So it's one thing that I was thinking about when I was kind of trying to lay this thing out. What we're going to need though is a barrier between this section here. I want to seal this off somehow. Oh, and in this particular room here, it's going to have something over that elevator. And there's not a lot I can do, but I could make this small, skinny wall on that one side there to cover that up. Just trying to think on how the logistics. Okay, so I wouldn't mind keeping this open to the elevator itself. So this is one zone which either coming from two ways, but as soon as you get into this area, it gets sealed off. So that means I would have to get a seal here. So maybe this block that I put here is a bad idea, because I really do want to wall it off here somehow. Okay, let's say we made this, use some glass. Of course, the debate is, do I use the cheaper glass or the fancier glass? I do like the fancier glass better when I can use it, but it doesn't work in all places. Sometimes it's too thick to make it work right. And then of course you don't have the right angles to work with either. But in this case I kind of do, I think, have what I need. Or, you know, another option here. It's double wide, would line up, and we have double wide doors now. Which, that could kind of work. Except I have to use the armored doors because the regular interior doors don't have the right options. Okay, I think all these are airtight. So what if we had a door there? What is going on with this little bunch of blocks here? Oh, that's going over outside pipe. I see. Well, options here. I don't like to do this one either because it's expensive for size class, but there is a different block which I could simulate the pipe and have a solid floor on this. That would be to go to this block, there and there, possibly even there. And now we've made that solid and we didn't lose the pipe. I just don't like to run those because for some reason the polygons on those blocks are insane expensive. So it's like a huge size class thing, but I guess, you know, again, I can't really be concerned that much with size class on this build. It's just not going to work out. It's not a starter ship. It's not even really a player ship, kind of. It's more of a icon ship. I don't know what it is. Medical ship. Alright. Let's just grab some regular doors here again. Another thing that bothers me about these interior doors is many times I've wanted to use one of these glass doors, but guess what? They're not airtight, so I can't. So I've been pretty much having to go with a lot of these doors or these doors depending on how I've got the area set up. In this case, I think I can get by with either type, but all elevators have been trying to use this one to keep them at least consistent. And that's something I'm going to have to do, is mark off elevators better too. Now in this whole build, one of the big things was it's kind of like a 4-story apartment building, more or less, and it's got, well, 4 to 5 floors, and it's kind of laid out that way. So there's 5 elevator systems throughout the ship. Sometimes on the, most of them are on the sides except for one in the front middle area, and that is a lot to do with just having I don't know, it's making the layout confusing inside, but then again, it's got so many areas and so many places that, how do you not make it confusing? Pretty much any building or hospitals that I've actually been in all seem to be quite confusing, at least the ones locally here, especially if they're bigger. So I don't know how to really avoid that. So this little area here, there's a jog up in the ceiling. So I'm going to try to accent that with some kind of little foyer or something here. Or do I want to go that route with it? I could. And then on the insides, maybe run. God, I hate that symmetry line. Just hate it. Oh, I see what's going on here. All right. Put some stuff on the top like that. And we got this cutesy little octagon up there. Alright, so obviously I'm going to need some fencing or something across here, otherwise you fall to your death probably down there. Bad for patients that are sick. Alright, so let's get out some of that in a minute. I've been kind of using this new glass as a standard for railings, except for engineering, which I used a cruder one. Why can't I put one right? Oh, what the heck is this? Oh, it's another pipe. And alright. We're gonna have to do the same thing with that pipe too. Alright. So we got guardrails. Let me fix the pipe. Oh man. Didn't even realize that you can see right through the ceiling here in these dugouts. I think I'll have to mod the ship a little bit here. Oh, I put it in the pipe backwards. No, I don't have to mod the ship. I just have to be not do it wrong. There we go. So now the only gap is on the inside here, which is easily fixed. Okay, now ceiling height in these parts I really can't raise up. So this is going to have to be pretty much low ceiling area walking through the lobby. Okay, so layout wise I think this should work because you've got this, you got an elevator access there. You get into the this area in here, which is going to have a whole lot of rooms. One thing though is it's not sealed on the other side. Which I think would be a pretty easy fix. So we get rid of that. Put in a door there. We can have a regular doorway there. And I'll fix this block to match up. So it all balances out all right. All right. So let's pop in some doorways here a minute. Okay, so if I go by scheme, again, I would like to use one of these glass ones, but they're not airtight. So, put in a couple of these, I think. Oh, it's a centered one. Forget about the centered doors. So we got our doors there. Okay, so now this zone here, once you go past this door, is our infectious disease zone. But the outer hallways are sealed, but all the rooms on the inside are also sealed, or will be. You know, speaking of that centered doorway, I can't use that because the doors would probably open up through this. Yeah, like that. Ugh. Not good. These are armored doors. Okay, I don't want those either. So what do I do here? I guess I could have the doors go upward again. Or do I want a window in these? Let's see if I open them like that. Do you see any doors sticking out through the polygons? Nope. Okay, so that should work. And then probably the same thing on the other side. Also open one to see if there's any glitches. Nope. Looks good. Now, one thing, as in gameplay reasons, maybe I should really swap out all these doors to non-airtight ones anyway. I know in purpose and point that you'd want these airtight, but that would literally require me to put in a ventilator in every one of these rooms. But thinking about it, kind of makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? So maybe I'll just have to bite the bullet and do that. It's expensive, but it could work. Well, now another thing is I've got these small curves on one side, and on the other side I got the bigger ones. Maybe they should be consistent, and I should use these thinner ones at every one of these spots. Like that. Which I think would probably feel better. Well, not feel better, but look a little better. Alright. Now, last but not least, what do I do with these center sections here? Okay, so that is needed to be like that. I could put an item in here for deco. Do I keep these hallways going through like this, or do I block that off and force you to walk all the way around to get in between the rooms? I don't know. Could add some glass in here too. Could actually remove the center wall in these rooms and make them bigger, but nah. Alright, so I got some areas fabricated now. Next thing of what I like to do is I will replace all of the carbon substrate texture with flat metal for now. I meant to hit that button. Okay, make sure we turn that off. That just saves a lot of time. So a lot of this will be left flat metal anyway. And then the windows work and they line up to the outer part of the ship. Yeah, I think this area would be kind of a wrap there. So now, okay, so this goes down into this other unfinished section here. One last thing I wanted to address is the other landing pad coming in here. So this area is going to go into another area. I don't know if this is going to be infectious though, or if I should just make this more of a regular hospital ward here and not quite as secure. But this actually is the last big room of the ship, I think, to do. Now there's a bunch of side rooms to do up yet, but the last major room area. And this one, I gotta kind of figure out where I can chop the ceiling away and where I can't. And most of this I can't, but what's under this I can. So I'm just kind of giving myself like a border, knowing that I can do fun stuff with the ceiling in this area. Which will make the room feel bigger overall. Well, anyway, that's probably went on long enough. Just curious what you think of what's here so far. Now, granted, there'll be a lot of texturing and lighting and decorations and all kinds of other stuff here, but I think it should work out where you get patients up into this area, and then down here is the infectious disease lab. I'll have to build that out too. So actually doing like research into that kind of stuff. And that actually goes out into kind of another, not high level quarantine, but still separated from the rest of the ship quarantine zone. So depending on how sick the person is or what they might have is depending on where they get put in the ship. All right, well, anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and I'll keep plugging away at it. It all takes a lot of time, and but pretty happy it's getting there. And I do apologize for the confusingness of the ship on the inside. It's just, man, you try to lay this out. I really like having a simple approach. A lot of the ships I built have like a central hallway, and it links you to the hangar, to the front of the ship, easy to get around in. This one's not that case, but I mean, I never had a ship with so many rooms in a tight area either, and so many levels and floors in it. So it is different than the other ones, but could make an interesting POI too, I think. A lot in this ship to go through if you were like having to shoot stuff up or explore something. Anyway, you all have yourself a good day. See you later.